This is Elon Musk's $60 million Gulfstream private plane. And there are some allegations about things that allegedly happened on this plane. But I want to show you some things you're probably not hearing elsewhere. Like, was this even possible that this could have occurred? And why is this information coming out right now? As that private jet touches down, in this case in Los Angeles, let's take a peek at the inside of Elon's $60 million Gulfstream G650ER. Here's what it looks like inside. And as you can see, even though it's by all means a beautiful private jet, it's not as big as you probably thought it was. For instance, if something was happening in one end of this private jet, people on the other end, as far away as you could possibly be from it, would be well aware of what was going on. What I'm saying is, on a private jet, even one this big, there's nowhere to hide. And that's important moving forward. So here is the actual overview of the G650 that Elon Musk has. And obviously, you see the pilots would be sitting up here in the cockpit of the plane. And then it goes back into some seating sections, some areas that you can make into small little beds. But overall, there's just a handful of seats before you get to the lavatory. And then this all back here, this is not a bedroom. This is all storage for luggage, etc. That's what the inside of this flight looks like. Now to the actual details of what is supposed to have happened before I tell you why this is coming out now. The flight attendant, this is according to Business Insider, told her friend that the billionaire SpaceX and Tesla founder asked her to come to his room during a flight in late 2016 for a full body massage. Well, one problem with that is, as you just saw, there's not really a room to be had here, right? You've got just open seating throughout. There's no place that's locked off and blocked away. Now, you can put up some curtains in an area right here, but it still isn't going to be anything that you would consider, at least I don't think, an actual room. It doesn't look that way to me. Back to these allegations. When she arrived, the attendant found that Musk was completely naked except for a sheet covering the lower half of his body. During the massage, the declaration says Musk exposed his genitals and then touched her and offered to buy her a horse if she would do more, referring to the performance of sex acts. That seems like a very odd thing to bring up in a situation like this. The attendant, who rides horses, declined and continued with the massage without engaging in any sexual conduct. The attendant is not for sale, the friend's declaration said. She is not going to perform sexual favors for money or gifts. The incident occurred during a flight to London. Now, as you can probably already tell, and this is important, this wasn't actually written by the person who alleges that Elon Musk did this to them. It was written by their friend. Their friend detailed what they suggested happened. The entirety of this is hearsay. All of it is undeniably hearsay from the word of a friend of this flight attendant that was on Elon Musk's private jet. In an interview with Insider, the friend described the attendant's allegations in more detail. Again, the friend is speaking on behalf of this woman, and there's a juicy tidbit about that in a second. She spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing fears for her personal safety, but Insider is aware of her identity. Insider is also aware of the flight attendant's identity, but is not naming her because she's claimed to be a victim of sexual misconduct. She declined to comment for the story. Why? Well, because she signed an NDA when they paid her out. And by the way, this isn't a shocking thing that some massive corporation would pay out if there was a claim that something like this happened. In fact, in the corporate world, it happens all the time. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the accusations have any merit to them at all. Maybe they did happen, maybe they didn't happen. But for a company as big as SpaceX, sometimes it's cheaper to pay $250,000 just to make it go away. Think of how much of an impact this could have on your stock price, for example. He whipped it out. He whipped out his penis. It was erect, the friend said, describing the allegations, and he started propositioning her. Like he touched her thigh and he told her he would buy her a horse. And he basically tried to bribe her to perform some sort of sexual favor. Again, this is not the words of the person who was the flight attendant, but this friend that seems really, really interested in pushing this story out there. I wonder why. The friend said the attendant told her about the misconduct while they were on a hike together shortly after the London trip. The friend described the attendant as distraught and visibly shaken. She was really upset. She didn't know what to do. This continues. The flight attendant told her friend work began to dry up after she refused Musk's advances. Before the incident, she regarded Mr. Musk as a person to look up to. But after he exposed himself, touched her without permission, and offered to pay her for sex, she was full of anxiety, they said. She figured things could just go back to normal and she would pretend like nothing happened. However, she started to feel as if she was receiving some sort of retaliation where her shifts were cut back and she was starting to feel really stressed. She thought she was being pushed out and punished. Now, I guess this is something that they say they offer as a perk for executives who work at SpaceX. But the payment was pushed through in 2018, I believe. It says in 2018, after becoming convinced that her refusal to accept Musk's proposal had diminished her opportunities at SpaceX, the flight attendant hired a California employment lawyer and sent a complaint to the Human Resource Department detailing the episode. So it wasn't after this happened that she came forward with this. It was after she said she felt slighted, that they were reducing her role, and that she was losing any kind of reputation that she had working for this company. Around that time, the attorney's firm contacted the friend and asked her to prepare the declaration corroborating the claims. So this is from this friend and her statements that are all totally and completely hearsay that were just so somebody else could be in on this as verifying the story. Now, this friend was not there. I got to tell you that. The friend was not on the flight, has never met Elon Musk, and simply heard the story allegedly from the person this happened to. All right. Now, here's where this gets interesting. The attendant's complaint was resolved quickly after a session with a mediator that Musk personally attended. So he took part in this. He was there. The matter never reached a court of law or an arbitration proceeding. In November 2018, Musk, SpaceX, and the flight attendant entered into a severance agreement, granting the attendant a $250,000 payment in exchange for a promise not to sue over the claims. So it was a severance deal. It was an actual severance deal for her to leave the company, to get this out of their hair and move on to the next thing. The agreement, and this is important, also included restrictive non-disclosure and non-disparagement clauses that bar the attendant from ever discussing that severance payment or disclosing any information of any kind about Musk, his business, SpaceX, and Tesla. Then, of course, they mention, and this is really maybe the most important thing about currently Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter. The friend told Insider that she decided to come forward without consulting the flight attendant because as a survivor of sexual assault, she felt an obligation to share what she's been told about Musk. Unlike the flight attendant, her friend is not bound by any non-disclosure agreement. Now, what do you think Elon Musk should do? One flex move here would be to release this woman from her non-disclosure agreement and say, let's have at it. Let's talk about what happened on this private jet. Did he do something? I'm telling you, when I look at this and see that there's very little room to have anything that is any semblance of privacy on a plane like this, it seems incredibly unlikely to me that Elon Musk would try to do something like this. It's also incredibly out of character for him. Here's what he's saying as a response. Elon says, the attacks against me should be viewed through a political lens. This is their standard despicable playbook, but nothing will deter me from fighting for a good future and your right to speech or free speech. This is also, it should be mentioned, exactly what happened to the CEO of Barstool Sports. He started to get political, weaved out of his lane, and then all of a sudden somebody went to Business Insider to say, hey, he's a sex pest. Here's all the bad stuff he did. Elon elaborates exactly. Moreover, the friend in question who gave the interview to Business Insider is a far left activist and actress in Los Angeles with a major political axe to grind. So that's what he's saying was happening here. This person says, where were these wild accusations against Elon Musk before he took a stand against the establishment? Exactly. And for the record, those wild accusations are utterly untrue. Here's the kicker. But I have a challenge to this liar who claims their friend saw me exposed. Describe just one thing, anything at all, scars, tattoos, whatever, that isn't known by the public. She won't be able to do so because it never happened. Now, again, if he released her from this NDA and she came out to talk about this and she goes, well, actually, he's got a flaming eagle tattoo on his crotch, or, bends in this way or that way, or there's a mole here or there, it would kind of shift the impetus over to Elon Musk and say, show me what you got. Is she right? What do you think about this? Do you think this is a hit piece by Business Insider to go after Elon Musk? Because like so many other before him, somebody got upset because he veered into a lane that was political. and he was trying to make a move and take over Twitter. It doesn't seem like this came out at all beforehand. Why now? Why after the Twitter bid and purchase did this person come forward on behalf of her friend? And this is all, again, hearsay. So does that matter in this particular situation? What do you think happened inside this Gulfstream G650ER? It is a beautiful $60 million private jet. But could this be the undoing of Elon Musk and his Twitter bid? Or is he just going to fly on to the next location? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm eager to see what you have to say about this, as this seems to me personally to be incredibly targeted. The time is about as suspect as it possibly gets. But let me know what you're thinking about this story against Elon Musk. Thank you so much for watching. As always, facebook.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit that follow button. Help me get to 100,000 followers. youtube.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit subscribe. Thanks for your support, everybody. And we'll talk to you again real soon.